Hi guys, I just want to tell you guys about the compact that I just read, Deceased or DCEASED, or I don't know how else you pronounce it, but it's a really awesome book. I took about 2 days to read this book. It was very fast paced, I must say. So there wasn't a lot of moments of slowness. The pace was very fast. I think I gotta tell you, there's gonna be spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers or you're planning to read this book by yourself, then you probably will have to scroll on. Otherwise, going to be tons of spoilers, and then it's going to be awful for you when you read it. Okay, that being said, the book is very fast paced. If you're looking for a story of hope and victory, this story doesn't end that way. Kind of. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through like some of the key points of the story, so there definitely will be spoilers. Essentially, what happens is Dark Side. It starts off with him trying to conquer Earth, I suppose, and then he gets defeated by the Justice League. But then he leaves and he says no, he's got what he wanted, and actually what he wanted was Cyborg, because he's discovered that Cyborg has half of the anti-life equation that he needs, and then in his foolishness he tries to combine his equation with Cyborg's equation, and he changes the formula by adding death to it, so then it messes the whole thing up, and then basically he goes insane. And there's a virus that's now embedded in Cyborg. So they try to inject him back to Earth, and then that's where all the chaos starts. It starts transmitting the disease through electronic devices and zombie-like bites, and through transmission of blood, and then everyone starts going zombie-like. So one of the first people to get infected is Batman, unfortunately, but Batman figures out that there is a virus that Cyborg has inside him, and he gives Justice League the kind of clues as to what it might be, because he's also not sure, and then he obviously dies, and then the virus spreads across the world and into the oceans. There's Batman in the Mr. Freeze suit that's still keeping him together, but eventually he does succumb to it, and then he dies. This is a cool panel where Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are battling the birds of prey, and then obviously it gets bad to worse. This is Captain Atom, I think, and then he gets infected and becomes a nuclear bomb and destroys Metropolis. Then speaking of Metropolis, also Superman gets infected as well and goes crazy. And then Blue Beetle and Booster Gold and Big Barda and Mr. Terrific, they try to look for Constantine, because they think there's a magic solution, but there's no magic solution as well. And then essentially they try to figure out how to save the rest of humanity. So they eventually make contact with Lex Luthor, and they create these arcs to try to get the people off the planet. There's Lex being a bit of a douche there, gets knocked out by Lois Lane. Oh yes, and one of the more important points was Batman made sure at the time of people getting infected that Flash and Wally West they are safe, because he figured if they were to get infected, the virus would spread much more rapidly. And guess what? That's what happens towards the end. So they do get infected, and then it's all over for humanity. Superman tries to stop the Flash, and he also gets infected at that point, and yep, it's a disaster. Um, in the end, so towards the end of the book, there's a cavalry by the Green Lanterns. They come through, they try to save the day, but also too late. Ooh, there's also one part where they try to do a time travel solution, and that doesn't work out as well because, yeah, the people who police the time travel thing, they said no, essentially. Um, in the end, Wonder Woman gets infected, but um, before she gets infected, Cyborg realizes that the infection can speak through the infected, so he uses the lasso and asks if there's a cure. And guess what? There is a cure. Cyborg was the cure all this time. So um, there is a cure, and he's about to call the Justice League, and then his head gets ripped off and he's dead. But I guess the silver lining part is they eventually get off the planet, whichever people were surviving, and they make their way to a new Earth, which is that one. I think that's Earth 2. Yep, and that's how it ends. Thanks, guys. Hope this wasn't too long. Thanks for watching.